Hi, I'm Dustin Browder. I'm the game director on StarCraft 2.
All right, Dustin. So what is it like being up here in Shanghai?
This is absolutely amazing to be able to gather together with thousands of our fans to watch these incredible players throw down in this huge tournament that's been almost 8 months now. We've been putting together this tournament, pulling in players from all over the world to see who's the best of the best here in Shanghai. It's just a huge, huge thrill to be here.
And how did the Battle.net World Championship come about?
Well, this was an idea that we've had for a while to try to put together an experience that would allow a lot of our players in a lot of countries all over the world sort of bring together kind of an Olympics of StarCraft. So we've got players from countries that already have a very competitive esports scene like Korea or North America or lots of places in Western Europe. These people already have this very competitive scene. So we've got a lot of these great players here, but we also wanted to get the opportunity for some players who maybe don't quite have that super competitive esports scene yet, places like South America or Central America or some parts of Eastern Europe and Asia, and give them a chance to send some champions, right, to come to a central place and have a really big battle to see who's the best.
And how much money is up for grabs at BWC?
I'm not sure. I think the total number between World of Warcraft and StarCraft is a little over 400,000. But it's a big prize pool, and it's a lot of money for a lot of these guys who put in so much hard work to get this opportunity to come here.
And how many people do you expect to tune into BWC?
Oh, I actually have no idea what our viewer numbers will be at this point. I hope it's 50 million would be my hope.
Can you break down the championship competition?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pretty simple format. We've got group play on day one, and if you lose twice in group play, you're out. And the groups are randomly determined. So if you lose once, you can still be seeded into the second day, but if you lose twice, you're done. And so some of the groups are very, very tough because of the random distribution of those players. There's some very challenging players, and some of the groups are a little easier for some of these players, either because of the compositions, who they want to face, that sort of thing. So we've been through day one. When you get into day two, it's 16 players, single elimination, off to the races, and we'll see who the final champion is.
Why did you pick Shanghai for this global event over somewhere else like Korea?
Well, for Blizzard, we get the chance to have a few events every so often. Like we have an announcement event for StarCraft in Korea in 2007, or we have an announcement event for Diablo 3, these kinds of things. We have, BlizzCon every year in Irvine. And so every time we have one of these events, we look for an opportunity to go somewhere in the world we haven't been in a while. And trying to connect with our fans in that location. So we haven't been to China in quite a while. We thought it made a lot of sense to come to China here for this. This is the single largest gathering of Blizzard fans anywhere in the world is here in China. And we haven't been here in a long time. So we thought it'd be really cool to have this event here, come out here, commune with these fans, see what their experience is like. And so far it's been absolutely great.
And everyone knows how popular esports is in Korea, but what is it like in China?
It's really huge, and we're seeing that here today. We're seeing a lot of fans, out for the local Chinese players, and we're seeing, tons and tons of fans coming to this event. So honestly, at this point, I won't even say esports is just huge in Korea. Esports is big in China, it's big in North America, it's big in Europe, it's big in Korea. We've seen this be something in Brood War that was predominantly a Korean experience. It was exported all over the world. And now we're seeing the Koreans still have some of the absolute best players. But at the same time, the number of tournaments, the types of tournaments, the number of fans who are tuning in has grown substantially in almost every country all over the world. It's not just a Korean phenomenon.
And what do you think about the rivalry between StarCraft 2 and League of Legends?
I think both games are great games. I don't think there's much of a rivalry. They're very different games at the end of the day. I know our fans in some cases will make a rivalry out of it, but we don't really see it that way. They have a very different game. They're doing good work with it. We have a very different game. We think we're doing really good work with our game. And there's plenty of room for everybody here to make some really great products and help grow esports.
And what did you think about their finals at USC this year?
The finals at USC?
Yeah, the Riot Games League of Legends finals.
I actually didn't see the finals at USC this year for Riot. I know I need to catch up on that, but we're working really hard on Heart of the Swarm.
And what impact will Heart of the Swarm? Do you see Heart of the Swarm having on StarCraft 2 and esports?
Well, we have a ton of new features we're putting into Heart of the Swarm for esports, and we're really hopeful these features will help grow the product. So we're doing things like allowing commentators to make their own custom UI for observing games, and we're doing things like, resume from replay, which is a feature we've got that allows you to take a replay of any game or even a partially completed game and resume that game from any point you want in the middle of that game. So that means if there's a brownout, if there's a network failure, if there's a blue screen, if a keyboard breaks, they can reload that game game from any moment in that game to continue it. And it gives us a lot of flexibility to deal with a lot of real-world problems that come up with an amazing event like this, a very difficult, challenging environment to create the perfect system, right, that never has any problems. And this gives us an out. It gives us a way to get that game started again no matter what happens. And obviously we're doing everything we can for the product as well in terms of better social experiences, new ways to train the users who may be interested in playing a little bit more professionally but haven't had a chance to get into StarCraft, new training stuff. We're doing lots and lots of features across the whole game to try to make it a better, stronger esport experience, but also a more accessible experience for new users.
And when is the Heart of the Swarm coming out?
It's coming out in March of next year.